Ambulance fees and long wait times, they are both aspects that we have been following here locally.
And today we're taking a closer look at what's driving those higher costs and how wait times are being addressed as well. For one family, an ambulance trip put them in a financial hole. 8-year-old Angelina Alley broke her arm and dislocated an elbow after falling off a slide at Gateway Park. A Gold Cross ambulance was nearby and took them to Doctors Hospital to be checked out. They were told they would have to be transferred down to the Children's Hospital of Georgia for a closer look.
Well, now the family is stuck paying for 2 ambulance rides. They say they are more than $1,200 each. One of the rides was simply a transfer ride to another hospital. Augusta commissioners say the cost of business is simply going up, but for the average person, they can't even afford the ride already.
For it to cost over $1,000 just to drive her down the road when we could have done that was insane. It just goes to show you there's a lot of people that actually do need the ambulance rides and they'll just turn it down because they can't afford it.
Gold Cross tells us they want to increase ride rates from around $1,100 to $1,700. They say the cost of business due to the pandemic has gone up, which includes gloves and masks.
And of course, gasoline too. But that family isn't the only one facing challenges related to Gold Cross. Recently, the number of complaints about the service is growing.
Kennedy Harris is live for us from the East Central Health District's mental health campus in Kennedy. Where are the complaints coming from and what's being done about them?
Well, Richard, the EMS subcommittee has been meeting and gathering data for months. And at the end of the month, they're hoping to gather all of that data and present it to the full commission so they can decide what the city's relationship will be with Gold Cross. Now, Gold Cross is the city's primary ambulance service provider. The city provides a subsidy to help Gold Cross with the cost of transporting patients unable to pay for an ambulance. But since last summer, the number of complaints about Gold Cross, specifically the slow response times, has grown. And that's what's made city leaders question the agreement with Gold Cross. Commissioner Ben Hassan is the chairman of the subcommittee. He says the focus is not on how much more the city might have to spend on the subsidy, but ensuring the quality of care Gold Cross provides meets the needs and standards.
How do we know where our ambulances are? How do we know what the expected time of arrivals are? How do we know that you've also contracted with another vendor, which they have the ability to do, like a South Star or whatever, through a mutual aid agreement that when Gold Cross doesn't have enough ambulance on the scene, that it would dispatch South Star or whomever.
And Gold Cross has its hands tied with several challenges too. One of the things they say is the most concerning is the number of mental health related calls. I'm working on that story for tonight at 6 o'clock.
Looking forward to that, Kennedy. Thanks for the live update there. Let's have a look outside as we check the traffic here and the weather on Wheeler Road. As we said,
of Julian Lewis.
Local prosecutors can present the case again to another grand jury for possible indictment. Attorneys say they've asked them to delay that, though, until federal investigators can look into the case.
Augusta firefighters working to figure out what caused the flames at this Winchester Drive house this morning. The blaze sending one firefighter to the hospital for heat exhaustion and displacing 4 people who live in the home. Officials say it started in the back of the house somewhere, spreading up into the attic. The fire rising to the level of 2 alarms, bringing out 8 fire engines. The injured firefighter is expected to be okay. Officials with the department say it's very physically demanding right now for these firefighters.
So the gear itself, the jacket, the pants, the SCBA, you're talking roughly 70 pounds these firefighters are carrying, plus the conditions as they are with the heat index and the actual temperatures itself. Then you're going into a burning building.
It is a huge strain on those people fighting fires for us. He says the department does a good job to make sure these firefighters stay hydrated and get breaks while they are fighting a fire. Basketball and jams go hand in hand. It's qualifying Friday at Peach Jam, and Space Jam also debuts today. Sports director Mike Iacochonis live at Riverview Park with the latest from the tournament. Mike.
Richard, I'm actually really glad you brought up Space Jam there. Back in 2019, LeBron James was not able to attend because he was still filming the movie. Now in 2021, Space Jam premiered today in Akron, Ohio with LeBron attending. So now the big question becomes, will we get to see LeBron next week? Now keep in mind, LeBron has 2 sons playing in the tournament, both Bronny Jr. and Bryson Maximus. Ronnie's playing with the 17s and Bryce with the 15s. A big part of LeBron showing up will probably come down to whether or not his sons qualify. 24 teams will advance after this week. I'm working to find out if that's based on standings or within the division or overall record. Ronnie's team strive for greatness, looked strong in the first few days of the tournament. They were 2-0 to start, but then lost 2 in a row after that, including one this morning. They do have a chance for redemption tonight at 8. And one of the other things I want to say about LeBron and Peach Jam, he's been very invested in this tournament, being active on social media. We saw the video of him coaching by his couch, and he's also tweeted about the rest of the players. He hasn't tweeted about one of the guys on the court right now, though. Number 2 ranked prospect in the country, Jalen Duren, is currently playing behind me. We'll have more from Peach Jam coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.
Can't wait to see it, Mike. Thanks so much. Also today, an historical marker unveiled in Nashville this morning, honoring the legacy of Georgia Congressman John.
Back to you.
Thanks, Anthony. Riding in an ambulance can be a stressful and traumatic experience in itself, not to mention the price tag, which can be shocking.
It can, and for weeks they've been telling you about a possible increase in cost for an ambulance ride in Augusta. But our Wrdw talked to one family today who says they already can't afford it as it is.
For 8-year-old Angelina Alley, being loaded up in the back of an ambulance after breaking her arm was a first.
They ended up taking us to Doctor's Hospital.
In the ambulance, they put in an IV, gave her pain medicine, and stabilized her arm. But later they found out they were going to have to be moved to the Children's Hospital in a second ambulance.
It was about 2 hours. We waited for the ambulance to come, but the second ambulance literally did nothing along the way. They just transferred.
Now the family is left with 2 ambulance bills they can't afford.
You know, co-pays and all those other things are gonna eat us alive.
The first ambulance ride, $1,277.05. The second, nearly the same amount at $1,255.
We had no idea the second one was going to cost the same when there was nothing that even got done during it. For it to cost over $1,000 just to drive her down the road when we could have done that was insane.
Families are already struggling with the current cost of rides, and Gold Cross is looking to up those fees even more. The base amount for a ride right now is $1,150, but they want to increase that to $1,700.
Can see that it's frustrating for almost anybody.
Gold Cross says the pandemic is driving up costs for masks and gloves to triple the normal amount. And gas isn't cheap either, costing $8,000 a week.
I guess it's just business, but
The provider says the increase wouldn't impact people on Medicare, Medicaid, or people on a VA plan, which is 80% of who they serve. But for the Alley family, they're still left paying the bills.
It just goes to show you there's a lot of people that actually do need the ambulance rides, and they'll just turn it down because they can't afford it.
In Augusta, Will Rio, on your side.
And the rising cost of ambulance rides is just one side of the issue. The other major problem, slow response times.
Our Kennedy Harris live now from the East Central Health District's mental health campus. And Kennedy, that is the only mental health hospital in our area. And you say that's actually causing some of these slow response times.
That's right. This is the only hospital in Richmond County where Gold Cross can transport patients for mental health services. So when this facility is full, like right now, Gold Cross has to go to other parts of Georgia to transport those patients. And that leaves one less ambulance in Richmond County.
I called y'all since 7:30. Ain't nobody got here yet, man.
I know, sir. We're on the way. We're almost to you, okay? We're coming.
It's the difference between life and death.
You know, we're getting calls now where people are waiting an enormous amount of time in very crucial situations.
After complaints over slow ambulance response times, for months now, Augusta's EMS subcommittee has gathered data to examine the city's relationship with Gold Cross EMS. Gold Cross has 8 ambulances in Richmond County. They say if an ambulance isn't tied up at the hospital, sometimes one might be tied up with a mental health patient.
I feel really short of breath. Like I can't think straight.
From January to earlier today, Gold Cross had received 1,475 psych or overdose-related calls. That's 351 more calls than the same time period last year, and 522 more calls than that period in 2019. While the East Central Health District is the only mental health hospital Gold Cross can transport to in Richmond County, there is a mental health facility, Serenity Behavioral Health. Gold Cross can transport there, but the 2 facilities facilities actually work together for patient care. Right now, the hospital is 6 patients over capacity. So if Gold Cross got another call,
I'm trying to get on the floor. I can't move, man. I'm a kid infection, man.
they'd have to transport the patient to one of 6 other facilities, ranging from 2 to 4 hours away.
Service. And so, as moving forward, our conversation will be about the quality of service that we can anticipate. How do we know where our ambulances are?
And the subcommittee will meet one last time this upcoming Monday to finalize their presentation, and that will include the solutions and the issues that they have found.
It is a complicated issue, Kennedy. We will continue to watch it. Thanks for that update. An investigation underway now in Augusta into the cause of this house fire. This was the scene earlier today at a home on Winchester Drive near Wheeler Road, really just a few blocks away from the Augusta Exchange. You can see smoke pouring out of this home. Both chimneys ended up collapsing. Augusta Fire says it actually contained the flames around 1 this afternoon. Thankfully, the 4 people who live there made it out okay. We are told one firefighter was taken to the hospital for heat exhaustion, but is expected to be okay. We're digging deeper into crime at an Augusta apartment complex after a mother of 3 was shot 5 times there earlier this week. Our I-team requested the numbers, and records show the violence at the Foxton Apartments is increasing. In 2018, there were only 4 incidents of violent crime at Fox Trace. In 2019, even fewer. There were only 3. But in 2020, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office reports 7 incidents of violence, 5 aggravated assaults with a gun, and 2 robberies. Halfway into this year, already 5 violent events. All 5 so far were aggravated assaults, 4 of which were with a gun.
Well, if you're making plans on the water this weekend, the Savannah Riverkeeper says stay out of the water at Betty's Branch near Evans.
That's right. Tests showed high levels of E. coli in the water last week. Now, new results are in, and they're showing levels 2 times higher than that. Here's a look at the latest swim guide from the Savannah River